prosperous day full of life and liberty. And most of all, I hope you're doing good things. It's Thursday, so say with me, so happy it's Thursday. Yeah. Now, what I want to speak with you about in this video to communicate to you about the Israel-Hezbollah war and ceasefire. The ceasefire went into effect roughly 28 hours ago, and it held up for most of the day in certain ways, at least in terms of cross-border attacks go. There were no complaint cylinders being fired from Israel into Lebanon or Lebanon into Israel. But there were some incidents within Lebanon of people returning to their villages and towns before the IDF told them to. And the reason that matters is because the IDF are the force right now there that controls the area in that part of South Lebanon. And they told the people when to leave, and they said, when it's time to come back, we'll let you know. And they told them again yesterday, as the ceasefire was being implemented, initially they said, listen, we'll let you know when it's safe to come back. Because right now it's not very safe because there's still a bunch of ordnance all over the place. And we're clearing the space. We'll make sure it's safe for you to go back to your homes and towns. And many people did not listen, especially young men. Right? Angry young men will tend to do really stupid, irrational things, especially when they're not in a proper military cadre of any kind. And so many of them went directly back to their homes and their villages. And some of them approached groups of soldiers that were there, stationed there, still stationed there, and, started to get a little aggressive in their posture. So the Israelis, had to tell them, hey, back off and go away, leave, you're not supposed to be here. They refused to do so, so the Israelis had to shoot some rounds in the air. Some people may have been injured, who knows. Some people were arrested, that's for sure. And, it just means that there's more tension right now happening in South Lebanon, and it means that the ceasefire is, in theory, holding up. At least it was yesterday, but just today, not long ago, within the last couple hours or so, there was an attack on a northern Israeli town, Arab al-Aramsheh, right there on the border with Lebanon, and it's been attacked. What exactly the attack was, I didn't get into all the details. From what I saw, the latest headlines was just, I saw it on the Red Alert app and the Homefront Command, and so far that there's been an attack there, or that there was an alert of an attack. So it could be incoming ordnances from the air, meaning mortars or rockets or missiles or drones. Usually when you're that close to the border, it's usually mortars. Very, very seldom will it be, compared to the amount of mortar fire they get up there, because they're right there on the border. So usually that's what they'll get. Either that, or there'll be some kind of infiltration attempt, meaning somebody will try to cross the border, with guns and grenades and stuff, and try to do an attack with quote-unquote boots on the ground. In any case, an attack is an attack. An attack is a direct violation of the ceasefire. And what else is happening as we get into what should happen next, right? Well, what else is happening is that the United States envoy, Mr. Hawksburg, who led the negotiations for the ceasefire to come into existence, has spoken recently and said that Israel creating a buffer zone in South Lebanon is, highly improbable to happen. And if it did, it certainly would not be with the blessings of the Lebanese government, which is kind of an obvious thing. Like, nobody expects Lebanon to accept an Israeli buffer zone in South Lebanon, but nobody should expect Israel to accept Hezbollah still attacking it and violating the ceasefire agreement either. What does this say? All right. Hello. Hi. Waving to you. So yeah. So what comes next, right? What happens next? Well, what happens next, now that there has been a violation, a clear violation of the ceasefire agreement, now comes the test. Israel has not even largely withdrawn from the area that they are currently in South. Yes, some troops actually did come home yesterday. They left Lebanon yesterday. But the vast majority that have been there since September are still there. Right? Their plan was to leave within 60 days, not one day. So, a few have come home, a very small number relative to the amount that were there. So now Israel is being tested. What is Israel going to do? Are they going to respond with great force? Are they going to say ceasefire off because you've already violated it? Or are they going to do everything they can to sustain this thing? My bet is on the latter, unfortunately. I mean, when I say unfortunately, I mean because, again, I'm all for the ceasefire in the short term. Everybody wants these stupid complaint cylinders to stop. But in the long term, this is not a solution. This is not peace. Right? Like, there is such a thing as a bad peace. And that bad peace is when people perceive quiet on the battlefield or quiet on the field in general to be peace. It's not peace, right? There's a lot of tension, and all those guys are doing is rearming for the next round of battles. That's all they're doing. They are not for 1 second taking their foot off the gas pedal and just like, oh, we got our asses whooped by Israel. That's enough. Let's just forget the whole genocide thing now. No, they want to genocide against Israel. It's in their frickin' charter. They want to kill every Israeli and every Jew. They want to destroy Israel and replace it with a Muslim caliphate. And Hezbollah happens to be Shia, and Hamas happens to be Sunni, mostly. So guess what happens if either of them ever get their way in destroying Israel? You know what happens? They have a civil war here. It's not going to be peace and love in the land of Israel or the land of Palestine, right? No. They will fight each other to decide who gets to control this land. They'll genocide each other, and then they'll go and genocide as much as they can in Europe and the United States. That's the reality, right? These are not peace-loving movements. They're psychopathic, bloodlust, genocidal movements. They're maniacs. And the political movements that created them are driven by that same hatred. These are theocratic ideologies that believe that their religion and their particular version of it is the only thing that can be the law, and everything else should either be destroyed or surrender to it and be its slave. That's how they view it. And again, I remind you, every major religion has had a dark age. This is their dark age. We've been in it increasingly for the past 200 years. And we will not see the end of it, probably in our lifetime. It will probably take another 100 to 300 years before that happens. 100 if we're lucky. Even if we manage to change their perception, to unbrainwash them, by and large, within the next 5 to 20 years, which is a Herculean task, but certainly not an impossible one. It will still take another 1 to 3 generations at the bare minimum before they actually give up those crazy dreams. Why? I'll tell you why. Because even though the Nazis and Imperial Japan were denazified and de-imperialized extremely quickly, well, that's because they didn't have 1,500 years of the same religion inculcating into them this deep-seated hatred that culminated in the extremely awful things they did. Oh, wait, hang on, they actually did. No, that's not the reason. Thought you got me, huh? No. The reason that it will take generations more in the Arab world and the Muslim world to deprogram itself from the hatred that it currently has for Jews and Kafirs is very simple. Their ideology is extreme. Right? Criticize them all you want. Jesus was a hippie. He was a Jewish hippie. He was around wearing nothing but sandals and beads, handing out flowers and saying peace and love. Right? Muhammad, not a hippie. Muhammad was an extremely violent person. Muhammad was a PDF, as they call him on YouTube these days. He married a 9-year-old girl. And he had conjugal intimacy with her when she was what, 9, 12, whatever, like it matters. And this is the person they revere as their prophet. He was a conquering person. He believed in conquering. Right? He was a warrior and a thief and a plunderer and a looter. And that was his mission in life. And that's what he did in life. Show me a person's actions, and I'll tell you who they are. So that's why, right? It is a much more deep-seated hatred. It is a much more radicalized hatred in a world where the individual has far greater individual power than ever before. These little computer phone things we hold in our hand have immense power. Right? You send out the right message, it clicks with the right people, it can go viral with millions or billions of people extremely quickly. Far more than anybody ever could before in terms of number and, speed. So, again, is it possible to unbrainwash people? Yeah, it is very, very possible. It takes effort, but it can be done sometimes very quickly. Depends on their level of brainwashing and how receptive they are to being unbrainwashed. But it can take anywhere from months to some years. Right? But it can be done within just 0 to 5 years in most cases. But for an entire people to give up their insane dreams, even if they're unbrainwashed, it will still take them generations for those lingering feelings, that tingling sensation they get when they dream of wiping out an entire population just based on their beliefs. Right? That will still take generations. Yes, it will subside quickly in terms of public visibility, right? But it will not entirely go away. It will still be part of who they are and what they want for hundreds of years. I hope I'm wrong, but I seldom am when it comes to these kind of things. Anyway, that's going to do it for now, folks. Hope you're all doing well, and I bid you all Peace.